Hello everyone and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs and I want to welcome everybody coming in from all over the world. Today we are going to make a couple of cards featuring our brand new Christmas in July card kit. And I have to tell you, I am solo today other than Brianne, who is in the comments linking everything today. Thank you so much for being here, Brianne. Tom got called out on an unexpected meeting and I just don't think he's going to be back in time, so it's just going to be me working all the controls, already messing up the intro. You know how that goes, but we're going to make the best of it today, just us. All right, so the new card kit, if any of you didn't get a chance to watch our release party on Tuesday night, then you may have missed that we have a brand new card kit. And this card kit is called Christmas in July, and it is jam-packed with all kinds of beautiful items. And the items that I'm going to be using from the card kit today are the Festive Bloom Stamp and Die collection. I'm going to be using the brand new First Class Frame cover plate, and I'm going to be using the Postage Plus stamp set. All of these items are from the brand new kit, and I'm going to be making two of the cards that I shared with you on release party night so you can see just how easy it is to stamp this large poinsettia. Now, a few people in our Facebook group have said, can you design a coloring stencil to color this in? You don't need a coloring stencil to color this in. This stamps solid, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create the beautiful colored look that I created in my cards from the release party and what we're going to do today. So to begin, I'm going to start with a piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to cut this sheet in half. Let me grab my glasses because I can't see anything. I'm going to cut this sheet in half. And then I'm going to cut one of these pieces in half again. And I'm going to try to get 2 cards done during this release. And I think we can do it. Okay, so to start, I'm going to place this piece of cardstock into my MISTI, all right? And I have our double background grip mat 2 in here. You can use any photopolymer mat, but I think it's a really good idea to have a grip mat in your MISTI when you're doing techniques like this, because that cardstock is not going to go anywhere. And you can stamp this more than once to get a nice solid impression. So I'm going to grab this huge poinsettia. Absolutely love this image. I was a little worried about it at first, and I thought, you know, how's it going to stamp? I hope it looks good. So I'm going to stamp this just a little bit off the paper here, like this. And I'm not going to worry if I get ink on my grip mat. I can clean that up. Okay, no problem. Now I'm going to use two different colors to stamp this. I'm going to use red hot ink, and then I'm going to use some dark cranberry. So I'm going to start with red hot, and I'm going to stamp this a couple of times onto this piece of cardstock using the red hot ink. All right, so I've got it nice and inky here, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it. And I'm going to use my Chucky tool to put a little pressure on there. Okay, that's gorgeous, just like that, isn't it? But I'm going to give it one more stamping just to get that red even a little bit more solid. And you can use any colors that you want, but I'm going to do a traditional one, and then I'm going to do one in the turquoise, because a lot of you were asking how I got that, the look that I got with my sample cards. Okay, so now we've got that gorgeous, look how solid and beautiful that image is. So you don't need coloring stencils for that. Now, I'm going to take this dark cranberry ink pad, and I am going to ink up around the edges. Let me just see something here. I'm going to ink up around the edges. And the edges I'm going to ink up around are the ones that really don't have ink on them anymore because they transferred to the paper. The rest of this stamped off. I don't need to do that. But I'm going to take this ink pad, and I'm going to add some dark cranberry around the perimeter here of this poinsettia. Like that. All right, and then I'm going to stamp that again. See how I got some of that dark shading in there? Now, if you want, you can take something like a sponge dauber, and you can add a little bit of this cranberry ink, and you can actually tap some more cranberry in there if you want. Just do a little bit at a time to get a little bit more shading in there. Let's see here. There we go. See how I'm just adding that lightly with a sponge? So I'm just bringing some of that color in. You could bring it into some of the other ones too if you wanted to add a little bit of in here, a little bit of cranberry in there, just to brighten it up or deepen it up a little bit. You can add some of that in there. We can add more. Can start to see it's getting deeper on the inside there. Isn't that so pretty and so easy? If you don't like it this deep, you could go with medium cranberry, or you could go with faded brick. You can go with maybe cherry red, because cherry red and red hot, or red velvet and red hot will give you a more subtle look. But I really kind of like the way that this looks. So now I'm going to just clean off this stamp here with my tidy towel. The reds are always so messy. They're beautiful, but they're so messy. And they can be a little bit stainy, but that's okay. A stained stamp is a loved stamp, and a little bit of red stain on this stamp is not going to bother me at all. All right, now I'm going to add, I'm going to keep this stamp just up here for now. No, maybe I better put it back. Just in case, you never know, right? Okay, so now I'm going to add the center of this poinsettia. And this is pretty easy to line up. You just have to look kind of straight down on it and line that up in there in those empty holes. And then we're going to stamp this one with two colors as well. We're going to start with some butterscotch. So I'm going to stamp it with butterscotch first. Oh, that's so pretty. And then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of honey mustard around the perimeter. Just a little bit. So if you have ink cubes, you can use those as well to do this. But I'm just adding a little bit of depth around the outside perimeter there. There we go. And you can see, let me pull this off. You can see how pretty that looks. Now we're going to chop this a little bit to fit on our card. So let me go ahead and clean off my Misty with all this extra red ink on here, my grip mat. And I'll clean that off too. And then we'll get rid of this. Okay. So while I'm here, before I get my die cutting machine out, I'm going to stamp I'm going to use postage greeting on this, so I will hold off on that. I'm going to use one of the greetings on my second card. Okay, so now let's get the die cutting machine. I'm going to get the Intracut. You can use any die cutting machine, of course. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one of these big postage dies. All right, this is our first class frame cover plate. So this is pretty big, and I'm going to cut this out using some white cardstock. And welcome everyone, it's great to see all of you popping in. I know it's the middle of summer and we're doing Christmas cards, but you know what? For some of you guys, especially those of you that do craft fairs and stuff where you sell your holiday cards, you've been making them all summer. I know you have. Probably make them all year, getting ready for your events. And if you've got lots of people on your card making list, then you definitely want to get an early start. Okay, so you can see how nice this die cuts. And it's got that nice little stitched edge up here around the perimeter. So let's put that away. This you're going to use this in a lot of cards year round, because if you like postage stuff, and I do, I love postage stuff, you're going to find that you're going to reach for it quite a bit. All right, let me grab a piece of cardstock here, and what I'm going to do is I want to create some area in here. I could also use my sticky mat for this. Why don't I use my sticky mat? I think that would be better instead of having this sliding all around and wasting a perfectly good piece of cardstock. So let me get my sticky mat. You can also use your grip mat if that's what you have. I'm going to put that onto the sticky mat. And then I'm going to get some Masking Magic strips. So I'm going to use the 1/2 inch Masking Magic strips. I keep mine in these storage pockets. And I am going to just block off a little bit of that stitching. So I'm just going to kind of go around the perimeter here. Now, I'm not super worried about this being perfect because I'm going to do very, very light inking here. But it's just kind of nice to block this off because I want to ink and I want to stamp. And this will just help me do that and protect the edges of this die. So Masking Magic strips are great for this. Put one there and one here, like that. Okay, now I'm going to get my trusty ink stand, and I'm going to get some sea glass ink. Do I have sea glass? Yeah, I do. Some sea glass ink. And then I'm going to just do a little bit of sea glass around the perimeter here. I'm starting off of the cardstock, and I'm just going to lightly do a little bit of sea glass just to help separate the inside panel from the border. You're going to get a nice, it's going to feel like a layer in here when you do this. Feel like a little extra layer. Okay. And it just, I don't know, it feels more wintry when you have this going on too. Okay. So there we go. Now what I want to do is I want to add some texture. So you can either use the spatter stamp from the Seasonal Patterns and Phrases stamp set. I know a lot of you have that one, and a lot of you bought it just because you love the 2 texture stamps in that. But I'm going to use Snowy background, because Snowy is also one that you can do a spatter look, and it's easy if you want to do it all over the entire thing. So I'm going to ink this up with some light spruce ink. Yes, Brienne, link your ink stand, please. I see people asking for it. Okay. Yes, Paige, the kit is available to purchase now. You can find it if you click on Shop, and then you click on What's New on the filters. You'll find all of our new release. Okay. Also, if you just click the banner on the home page, you'll find it too. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to turn it upside down. And I'm just going to lay it down there. And I'm just going to use my fingers to kind of rub over the surface. You can also use your Chucky tool for this, but this isn't very hard to do. Okay. So now I've got that nice spattery background there. All right, let me clean this background stamp because I'm going to use it again in my second card. So I don't want there to be any green ink on it because I'm going to do a different color. And then I'll put this back so we don't lose that. All right, now that we have this done, we're going to peel, let me close my ink pad. We're going to peel and reveal this beautiful edge that we created. How pretty that is. So crisp. I love how crisp that looks. And we can pull this off. And we can clean the sticky mat. And we can put this away. Okay, so look how pretty that is. Isn't that beautiful? See all the detail in that? And I love how the spatter doesn't go outside of that box. It really does. It just jazzes it up, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this out with the die, the coordinating die for this stamp set. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so Festive Bloom, here you are. Look at this gigantic die. It's so big. And then, I probably should have looked at the picture. Well, I'll just struggle for a little bit here. I think it's gonna go somewhere around here like that. There we go. Okay. So we're going to pop this into place, and then I am going to just tape it down here since I'm using my non-magnetic mat, although you can use our magnetic mat, and then you don't really have to do that, but we're all set up here. So, and then I'm going to cut this out. Okay. There we go. So now we've got this poinsettia here that's kind of chopped off on the corner. Now this is going to be too big. It's going to extend over the side. So we are going to cut this down a little bit to keep the poinsettia within this area. But we not only want to keep it within this area, we want to keep it within this turquoise sea glass box. That'll make it look a little bit more finished off. So let me get rid of this and this. I won't be die cutting the next poinsettias, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay. Now we're going to need the little paper cutter so that we can trim this down. So we want this whole thing to be about the size of this blue box on the inside. So about, we don't want it to extend too much more than 3 1/4 inches. It can go a little more than that, but let's take it to about, I'm going to do it this way. Let's take it to about, let's try it right there, like 3 3/4 inch. We'll try that first. Actually, this side won't matter very much, so we can cut this just a little bit off. And then I'm going to flip it over so I can cut this side off, because this is the side that I really want to cut off. But I need this straight edge at the top, so I have to flip it over this way. And we're going to take this whole thing down to about, let's do about 3 1/2 inches. We'll see how it looks. Okay. So if we put that in there like that, it's still hanging over the edge just a little bit. I'm going to take it. I didn't want to cut too much off. You know, it's like cutting your bangs. You can always cut more off, but you can't put more back on. So I feel better about this. So there we go. I'm going to put that right up there, and then it doesn't extend over the edge there. Okay. So now you can pop this up if you want, but I also want to do some stamping on top. So I'm not going to pop it off. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape it right on to this piece of cardstock. And again, I'm using my the blue box in here to butt that right up against that edge. Like that. Okay. So now we're going to bring the Misty back in, and we're going to stamp some of the images from that Postage Plus stamp set. So I'll just put that right up in the corner here. And then let me grab the Postage Plus. Here it is. This cute little stamp set. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add a Christmas greeting. So I'm going to use the Merry Christmas down here at the bottom. All right. Yeah, that's right. Bangs grow back, paper not so much. That's right, Gran. So I'm going to stamp this inside the sea glass area. I don't want to extend past that because I want all of these images to also be inside that little box that I made with the Masking Magic strips. Now, if you want to make sure that it's straight first, we can use my trick where I take the index sheet off of this stamp set and I lay it over the area that I want to stamp, and then I stamp it onto the index sheet just to make sure it looks straight enough for my taste. And I think that looks pretty good. So now that I know that that's straight, I can clean that off my little clear sheet here and pull that off. And now I can stamp it for real. I know I don't trust myself. I like to see the index sheet first. There we go. So that looks pretty good to me. Now I'm going to get the 25 cents to put over here because I think that that 25 cents is good for the 25th. And again, I'm going to pop that down there. And do I trust it or do I check it? I think I'm going to check it. I'm going to check it. So I put my clear index sheet down. I'm just going to stamp it. I'm not worried about it stamping crystal clear. I just want to see that it looks straight. And I think that looks good. It looks straight. I like where it's positioned. So now I can pull this index sheet off and I can stamp that. Looking good. So now here's the crazy part. We're going to do the canceled stamp too. And we're going to do that up here. So I'm going to add this right here, like this. And I'm going to let it go a little bit outside the blue box, because this is the whole stamp. And if you want the December to be straight, you can have that straight. If you don't care, then, you know, you can have it turned any way you want. But I'm going to have it be straight. And I can see the word December, like D-E-C, in there, and I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now this part, you want to ink this up. Now remember, this is a very grungy, there's parts missing of the stamp. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's actually parts missing of the stamp on purpose. So if you get your stamp, don't think that that's defective. It's supposed to look kind of rugged, like a canceled stamp would look. And now I'm going to stamp this, but I've got to put pressure on it, and I got to make sure that it sinks down around the areas that are raised from my die cut in there, because it's just ever so slightly off. So there we go. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to add the little other part there, that little drapey canceled thing. Add that right in here, like that. This I'm not too worried about either. And again, that's very rugged and broken up on purpose. There we go. If you want that, you just press in there a little bit, and there you've got it. So now it definitely looks like a real postage stamp, just gigantic. Alrighty. So I'm going to put this away. Oh, you're going to have so much fun using these with other images. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It could be anything. Any big flower that you have would fit perfectly on here. And some of our big layering stencils would look great with this big postage piece. So for my card base, I'm going to use Christmas Pine. I don't need this gray, but I definitely want to do Christmas Pine for this card base. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 11. And then let me get my scoring thingy. Where'd that go? Where's my score tool? You know, I might have one in here somewhere. I don't. Where's my scoring board? Well, I guess I'll have to use something other than my scoring tool. I do have my big score pal, so I'll just use my big score pal. And I don't even have a score tool here. I don't know where it went. Let's see. Did it end up? Oh, you know what? It ended up under a pile of stamps to get put back. So that happens. I also have to find my original score tool. Okay, so I'm going to score this at the 5.5 inch mark. This is the beauty of live video. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, Zeus took it, right? Okay. So we'll go ahead and flatten that out. And we will add that right to this card base. So this die is a little bit bigger than our normal cover plates, so you don't really need a little black shadow layer. And I did that on purpose because I really wanted it to be very big and very close to the edge. I could have folded this better too. But you know. I told you guys, I probably told you this a million times. I take all the miscuts, and so a lot of my cardstock isn't straight like your cardstock is when you get it, because if something gets cut wrong, I say, oh no, just give that to me. I can use it. I don't want to waste it and throw it away because it has a, you know, an edge that isn't perfect. Okay, and there's that finished card. So fun, so quick and easy, and this poinsettia is just so stunning. And if you don't like the canceled there, or you want to do it in a lighter color like craft so it's not as noticeable, that would be beautiful too. But this was my idea, and I thought I'd give it a try, and I certainly like it. I know, no black shadow layer, right? Okay, so the next card that we're going to make is a big 5x7 card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down my cardstock to be a little bit bigger than Master Layouts 8. So I have Master Layouts 8 here, and I'm going to cut my panels using Master Layouts 8. So in order to cut this just a little bit bigger, I'm going to lay it into the paper cutter with this piece of cardstock. Okay, so I'm going to just put this right in here like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and cut it. No sense in measuring. It's not really necessary. I just want to make sure that I'm going to be able to cut this out once I'm done, and I want to make sure that I'm very close to the size so I can see where to lay my poinsettias onto this piece of cardstock. So now I can see that I'm going to get a really good idea of how to position my stamps on here, and they're not going to be too far apart where you're not going to be able to see everything. I'm not going to have to cut too much off when I use this die. All right, so I'm going to pop this into, well, I'll just lay it right here. Okay. Now I'm going to get my poinsettia stamp again. I know it's here. Get these dies out of the way too. Okay. So I'm going to put this poinsettia stamp, I'm going to put it like real big right here. I do want to make sure that I can get the center of the other one in too. So I'm going to stamp that first. All right. And then I'm going to do some Turquoise Sea ink. Start with Turquoise Sea. We're live, right? My computer stopped over here. Okay, I'm like, oh my gosh, how long have I been talking and we're not live? But we are live. I see your comments coming in, so I think I would have seen something, but... Okay, so we're going to do this one in Turquoise Sea. We'll stamp that one time. Oh, that's so pretty. I don't know what that is. It's a little goober, probably from cleaning it. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another layer here. Of Turquoise Sea. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of Tranquil Teal around the edges. Okay, thank you. Just a little Tranquil Teal around the edges. I won't be as dramatic this time with the darker color. Just a little bit to jazz it up. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to clean the stamp because I'm going to take it off and I'm going to reposition it. So I want to make sure that the stamp doesn't have ink on it. Okay. And I don't want to position it exactly the same way. I don't want it to be like it was like this. I don't want to like go up here like this. I want to like flip it around the other way. And the nice thing about this is I can clean my sticky mat and I can move this piece of cardstock to wherever I want. But let's just make sure that's completely dry first. Okay. In fact, I'm going to just flip the whole cardstock this way. I couldn't do a flip it and go because they would have overlapped from where I positioned this one. So this will just make it a little bit easier for me. All right, I'm going to lay this one. Really want to get as much blue on this card as possible. So I'll lay this one right here like that. This way I can kind of get these points to kind of almost interlock, but not touch. Maybe I'll just go just a hair back from that. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to start with Turquoise Sea. We'll stamp that twice. We'll do it again. I love this stamp. And you see, for everybody that was worried about not being able to color it and wanted coloring stencils, you don't need them because you're stamping in color with this design. Okay, and now we're going to add that little bit of Tranquil Teal along the outside edge. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so now we've got those two images done. Now I'm going to pull this whole thing off. I think I am. No, I'm going to do the insides. No, I'm going to actually do the insides with embellishments like I did on my sample card to show you guys that. Look at my hands already. There we go. So I'll leave this on here because what I'm going to do is take that snowy background and I'm going to add a little bit of spatter to this. Okay, so I'll show you how I'm going to do this. Let me get these out of the way. Okay, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of ink to one corner of this snowy background. I'm going to add a little bit of black ink here, just like that. And then I am going to just stamp it right in here like this. Like that, just to add a little bit of black spatter. I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do the same thing again, that same area. And I'm going to add just a little bit more, kind of continuing down like that. And that just gives me a little bit of spatter. I'm not a great spatterer, I'll be honest. I'm not great with the paintbrush. I'm not great with the ink. I'm not great with the mixing the right consistency. I've tried, but these stamps just make it so easy. How many brushes and daubers do you need to get started? Well, I'll tell you, my opinion is 10 because I like to have one for every color family. Not one for every color, but one for every color family. So I need a red, an orange, a yellow, a green, a teal, a blue, a purple, a pink, a brown, and a black. And then if you want, you can add a gray so that your black stays black. And I like that for my daubers too. And I might want to add one more dauber in there for white pigment ink, because you never want to mix pigment ink with regular dye ink. So that would be my recommendation. That's why we sell our brush kit in a 10-pack. You get 10 of all 3 size brushes. So you've got one ready to go for every color family. All right, so let me clean this Misty. And then I am going to stamp my greeting. Isn't that pretty? I love the spatter on that. That spatter effect is just perfect. So I'll grab a little extra piece of something that I cut out of something else. And then I'm going to stamp Merry Christmas onto this piece of cardstock. Now, if you want, you can stamp the centers of these flowers in color. You could do them in yellow. You could do them in embossing ink and then do them in silver or gold. But I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna really take my time here, and I'm gonna put gems in there for every little spot. Why not, right? This is such a quick and easy card. I might as well take my time and do the embellishments. It's a great way to use some of those bigger embellishments too, because some of those bigger embellishments we don't really tend to gravitate to when we're just adding a little bit of design around the greeting and stuff. But they fit perfectly inside of this poinsettia, and it's pretty easy to see where to put them. And I want to show you that because I know a lot of you saw my card on release party night and you're like, how did she know how to place those? So I'll show you that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is die cut these things using Master Layouts 8 and the coordinating die from that Festive Bloom. Go ahead and we'll start with Master Layouts 8. We'll cut this out. Now, find the perfect spot to cut. I think that looks pretty good. Right there, like that. And I am going to put a little piece of tape here just so nothing shifts, because if it shifts and it goes outside of this area, then I'm kind of SOL, you know? I won't be able to fix that, especially for a 5x7. Now, sometimes with these bigger dies, I do tighten the dial on the intercut a little bit. If you don't have an intercut, you could add a shim just in case. And then to really be safe, I'm going to just take this whole thing and flip it over and run it through a second time, just because it's a really big die. I know the spatter stamp does look real, doesn't it? I know, no mess except the regular mess that I always get myself into. Let's make sure that cut all the way. Nope, it didn't, so I'm going to cut one more time. I'm going to tighten it just a little bit. And I think it's my Master Layouts 8, actually. I have used and abused this die so many times that my blade might actually be getting a little bit dull. Okay, let's hope for the best. Is that cut? Just in one little spot? Really? All right, there we go. I guess it was cut. It just didn't look cut. Okay, so there we go. We have that panel with that beautiful spatter. And then we're going to cut out the Merry Christmas greeting using the coordinating dies from the Festive Bloom stamp set. Where did I put that? I don't even have that many things on my desk right now, and I'm still able to lose things. Here we go. So I can see last time I used this, I didn't even pop out the old piece. So let's go ahead and pop out that old piece of cardstock that's still in there. There we go. And now we'll cut this out. This in place. I just use Masking Magic if I'm not using my magnetic mat. I'm just being lazy. The magnetic mat's right over there. I just being lazy. I never use my magnetic mat for the big open die cuts like the master layouts, because you can't flip that mat over if it starts to warp and straighten it out again by flipping it. So I only use it for usually this kind of thing. But that looks pretty good. And then we do have to cut. I won't clean it again, and I'll complain about it next time. And you'll remember. And now I'm going to cut a black panel out of the Master Layouts 8 bigger die. I do need to cut a piece of black cardstock big enough for this, so I'm just going to cut that over here off to the side. And we're going to cut that out using a half a sheet of black cardstock here. And welcome everyone to Christmas in July. We're going to be making a bunch of little Christmas cards here this month, or the rest of this time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have my machine set tight enough here. The nice thing about it is you can pop that back in place, and I can tighten the machine and flip it. Let's make sure that's in the right spot. Yes. I can flip this over like this. Oh, there we go. I heard it. This is my little piece of black. Yeah, I have to have a little black on this one for sure. And I'll just save these on top of the machine. And here we go. Now, for those of you who are new here, you may not know that we give away, I'm going to just trim that up a little bit because it just shifted ever so slightly when I ran it through again. We give away a gift card at every live, and all you have to do to be entered to win, what if I just cut the whole thing over again, you know? Tighten up my machine there. We give away a gift card during every live, and if you would like to be entered to win, all you have to do is leave a comment. From the very first comment of the live before we even started, all the way up to right before we're ready to pick a winner, all of those comments will count, and we will draw a winner, and you can win a gift card. And you can use that gift card right away as soon as our customer service rep sends it to you. I'm struggling today, and I don't know why. I think I need a new set of Master Layouts 8. I really have beaten the heck out of this one. But the other thing is, very long time ago, I had a defective one that I took home. Somebody had sent it back, and I took it home. And I'm wondering if this is the one that I brought back with me, because normally my Master Layouts 8 works all the time. So it could be. It could be. You don't get very many defective things, but every once in a while, one die just refuses to work. So that should be good. I just trimmed it off on the one little area that didn't work. There we go. That'll be good. That'll give us that skinny black layer. Okay. Now, we're going to assemble this card. Now, this is going to be a 5x7 card. So we're going to cut a card base that measures 10 by 7. So I have to pull out this little handle here on my Tim Holtz cutter. And the color that I want to use is a color that I don't have. So I think I'll use Tranquil Teal. In my sample card I used Sea Glass, but I think I'll use Tranquil Teal for this one. And I will restock my Sea Glass. So I'm going to cut this down to 10 by 7. And that will give me a 5x7 card when it's folded in half. Okay. I know I ask where things are all the time, but if you saw what it looked like outside of the camera view, you guys would be like, "Oh, Gina, you are a mess." And I would agree 100%. So I'm scoring this at the 5-inch mark. And I'm going to fold that with my tool here. Just get a nice crisp edge in there. And now I'm going to layer these two panels together and pop up my greeting. And then we're going to add those cute little embellishments inside. All right, we'll get that on there. There we go. Close enough. Better than horrible. Not much better than horrible, though. Yeah, this is that die set, because I remember there was just one die in here. There was something a little weird about it, but we'll just go with it. And then I'll share the picture of my original sample, which is the same exact card, but with the right die set. Okay. So now we're going to add this to our beautiful Tranquil Teal card base. I kind of like how that accents those edges of the poinsettias. Actually, I do like the Tranquil Teal. And now what we're going to do is pop these up. So we're going to pop this greeting up using some foam squares. And I'm using the 1/4-inch foam squares, but I know some of you have 1/2-inch ones, and you could just cut those down to fit. I cut the 1/4-inch ones to fit the tiny areas, and I'll show you where I'm going to put one of those in a second. So you see these, how I've cut these down really tiny? So I'm going to, let's cut them even skinnier. I'm going to cut some here pretty skinny, and then I'm going to take one of those and I'm going to just put it right along here so that can get popped up too, right along that little side. And then we'll pop this right in the center. Okay. I know everybody's missing Tom in the dead space today. No word of the day, nothing. Nothing. Dead as a doornail over there. And we're going to put that right in the center of the card. Move it over just a little bit. I think that's a good spot for it. Sometimes I can see straighter when I'm looking up at the screen than when I'm actually looking at the card itself. Now, I'm going to use a lot of these big pearls. And I'm going to use some of our, I'll zoom in here. I'm going to use some of our masking, our matte Connect glue, which incidentally, I did get a shipping notice, so it should be coming back in stock soon. I know some of you are excited about that. So we'll start up here. I'm going to put one here, one here, one here, one here. It's easy to see where the big ones should go, like the first ones should go. So we'll fill those in first. And I think you could see what I'm talking about here. You know, they're kind of rounded areas, so you can see where they would get popped in. And I hope I have enough of these. Well, we'll see. So these are big. Did I use big ones on the other one? Yeah, I sure did. Okay. I think I'll have enough. If not, we'll mix them. We'll mix big and medium. And I'm just popping these in. So this is a great use for these big pearls that you don't always know what to do with. Sometimes they're just too big for those little tiny accents, or they're not really great for shaker cards, but they are great for this. I might not have enough. We'll see. I'm not going to stress yet. We could use black ones too, but I'm already committed now because I started with the silver. Black would have looked pretty cool too. We'll see how many of these we have. And actually what I can do is just show you the other card. You really don't have to see me do both of these if I don't have enough. It's just because I've been making a few of these cards. Now we're going to put one here because this is kind of round, and one here because that's kind of round. put one there. And here's a big one. I think they're big. That's a big one too. One there. And now we could just fill in this area with one here, one here, and one here. And let's see how those go in. One there. It feels good to use these up. And it's so pretty. And, you know, if you're going to use this for maybe a tag, then it doesn't even matter. You don't even have to worry about it being bumpy because you're going to hang it on something. So if you wanted to do this technique for a tag instead, you certainly could. And we'll put this one here. And then we'll have room for one more in there. And do we have one more is the question. And you know, I think I found one. And we'll put that in there. And then we'll just press them down. There we go. So you can see how that looks. Just all filled in there. I like using the silver because I think the silver and the blue look so nice together. They just, I don't know, that though both being cool tones look really good together, but black would also look really good. And, you know, if all you had was gold, I think the gold would also look really pretty. Blue and gold definitely still look really nice together. And you could also use our the rainbow pearls, and you could pick different rainbow colors, like maybe, or you could use the white pearls, which would be really pretty. So you're not limited to how you do this. You could also use big sequins if you wanted, or some of our iridescent dots to get that more flash kind of shine on those, and those would be easier to mail. So here's what it looks like when they're all filled in, and this is what it looks like with the sea glass card base. Here's with the Tranquil Teal card base. Not 100% sure which one I like better. I'm kind of gravitating toward the Tranquil Teal, to be honest with you. But I also think that the sea glass is pretty too. You can't go wrong with any turquoise in my book. So I'll put this one in the scene here, and let me get my other card out for you so that you can see that. All right, there we go. So those are the two cards. Super easy cards to make. Very, very fun to make. And, you know, just in under an hour, I was able to whip up two of these. So you can imagine if you're mass producing and you cut all your white panels and then you just do all of your stamping and then do all of your die cutting, you could really knock out 10 of these in a couple of hours. You definitely could. The hard part is coming up with the design a lot of times, not actually executing the design. So I think that these are two really good mass producible types of cards. And you know, you don't have to do this one by die cutting. You could mask this off and stamp it the same way that we stamp this directly on there. And then your spatter would just go onto the flower. But I don't think that that would look bad because it's such a light spatter. And the spatter looks actually really pretty when it's going over the petals. So I'd give it a shot and see what you think. Well, this was so much fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed these cards, and I definitely hope that you'll give them a try. The card kit is now available on our website. Just head over to Gina K Designs and just click right on the banner. You'll go right to the What's New category, and you'll see all of our new Illustrator stamps and dies and this brand new card kit. So you can decide if this is something that should come home to your craft room. Well, if you like this video, and I certainly hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up, that really does help the channel. And then if you're new here, or even if you're not new, just check and make sure that you're subscribed. If you're not, hit the subscribe button and all notifications so you never miss another video. And we're going to give away a gift card in just a minute, so don't go away. But if you, let's just do a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Brianne, thank you so much for linking everything. You help everybody so much. But if you missed any of Brianne's links, you can find everything that I used in the video today on our website at ginakdesigns.com. Now, If you're not a member of our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there. The name of the Facebook group is Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. You'll be able to see all of the beautiful card projects that our design team and guest designers have created using all of our brand new sets and this new card kit. And don't forget to check out some of our content creators like Rebecca Keppel, Megan Andrew, Mindy Egan, Kathy Zilski. They're all either have done or will be doing videos featuring this new card kit as well. So there's just going to be a plethora of ideas out there for you using our brand new release. All right, everybody. Well, it is time to pick a winner, and we need a drum roll for that. All right. And today's winner of a gift card is Linda Greer, 6109. Linda, you are our winner. Yeah, let's give Linda a hand. Yay, Linda. All right, Linda, you are our winner. All you have to do is send your name and email address over to info@ginakdesigns.com, and our customer service team will get that $15 gift card out to you. You can use it now. You can save it for any time because they never expire. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being here with us today. Tom and I will be back next Tuesday night with another Stamp and Chat Live, so I hope you'll join us then. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe and healthy. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.